We are the Purposeful Project. We help entrepreneurs for free. Welcome to today's Pep Talk, where we'll take just 20 minutes to interview leading experts from around the world who share actionable know-how, insights and life lessons. To hear these incredible insights, follow us on Spotify, Apple Music or anywhere you listen to podcasts. Or you can simply visit thepurposefulproject.com, sign up to our mailing list and get the podcast in your inbox every single week. Welcome, Nicole, to the podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today for this special edition podcast. Would you mind please perhaps starting by telling our audience a little bit about who you are, what you do and how you're involved in this year's festival?
All right. Hi, thanks, Simon, and really great to be on the podcast and explain about what we do. So I'm Nicole Denholder, and I'm the founder of Next Chapter Ventures, and I am based here in Hong Kong, and I previously worked in PricewaterhouseCoopers in the IPO and management consulting space. And, based on what I was seeing in terms of women-led businesses in some of the work I was doing, I was really interested in building my own business around supporting women-led businesses to access capital, because I think there's a real need there and the statistics prove that. So what I did is I started with a rewards-based crowdfunding platform for female founders in Asia. And based, again, on my experiences from that, what I've now built is a second platform where female entrepreneurs go to understand and seek capital for their businesses, whether they're across Asia and Australia. And what we do is we support our female founders in different types of funding available to them, where to find it, how to approach that funding. And we do it through two programs. We have what we call our Savvy Club and our Capital Club. And our program's really designed to support women in revenue and business growth. And that's through using different funding opportunities ranging from crowdfunding, grants, revenue-based financing, angel investment, all the way through to venture capital. And that's how we got involved with the StartmeupHK festival this year, because they're really focused on the SDGs goals. And, for us as a business, part of our philosophy is how do we support gender equality, which is SDG 5. And so we're really excited to be a core event at the StartmeupHK festival, focused on raising the bar around gender equality for female founders, particularly around fundraising. And the way we're doing that, we've organized 3 events, which starting with a great panel discussion around are female founders a better investment? And it's not meant to be a controversial discussion, but it's meant to be a really good debate to explain some of the numbers that we're seeing in that space around the returns investing in women and really what we can be doing to go forward. And we've got also some VCs that are already achieving that. So we're really putting a platform for that discussion. Then our second event in the afternoon is around female founders and showcasing their successes. And really, for us, a big thing is how do we showcase companies making impact and also making a profit and growing and scale up, because certainly scale up is one element around StartmeupHK Festival this year. And then our third event for the afternoon is a roundtable where we talk around financial empowerment for women. And that's really showing actions we can be taking through different organizations to really empower and create more role models, engage more women financially, because that all then ultimately feeds into the entrepreneurial ecosystem as well.
Wow, sound like great discussions, important discussions, and very, very exciting. I'm just interested, how did you move from working for PwC to starting your own business? What made you do that?
Well, I'd been with PricewaterhouseCoopers for over 12 years, both in London and Hong Kong. And that was part of the reason I moved to Hong Kong in the first place. And I did travel extensively. We talked a bit about that separately, Simon. And I, used to travel quite a lot. And so through that, I was just exposed to a lot of different businesses. So I was really interested in the way that where was the gender balance in some of these businesses. But also I felt what I was gaining from that experience, and I really enjoyed my time at PwC, it's a great company, was the regulatory exposure that I was having. And when I was talking to female founders, many of them were coming from creative industries or areas that didn't have that financial regulatory exposure. And when you start looking at funding and access to capital, there's kind of elements around it that are very different to if you come from a creative exposure. And so this is where for us, our vision for Next Chapter is that if you're a female founder and you think capital, you think Next Chapter, because we want to be the bridge and bring that understanding and awareness of capital to help you grow your business. And we don't necessarily have to be the service providers. So we've worked with, we work with Cardia Women's Initiative to showcase their grant program that runs globally. We have worked with the Founders Institute to have a fellowship. We've worked with HSBC in Hong Kong to do one-to-one, programs and also explain what they do. We've worked with Flywheel Financing out of Singapore on revenue-based financing, in addition to pitch sessions and VCs. And the real goal here that I'm very interested in is how can we support women in their business and revenue growth goals, and how can capital make a play in that, external capital?
It's a fantastic purpose. Your business is amazing. I know that you're a sole founder, and that's something we'll have perhaps another chat about in another podcast some other time, because I think being a sole founder is a very interesting subject. But I know you dived into this business on your own. But I wondered if you look back at I guess your career and you look forward, do you feel that, why Hong Kong? Why did you decide, okay, I understand you went there for PwC and the role there, but why did you stay in Hong Kong to do this?
Yeah, well, a couple of reasons. I mean, first of all, I moved out here with PricewaterhouseCoopers, but also my husband was relocated. So it was kind of a mix of us both moving here and having professional opportunities that were fantastic for us. And then following on from that, it was personally a great location because I have family in Australia and in Europe. So we're in a great, in between, in terms of being able to, enjoy the benefits of Hong Kong, but be able to do that. But also, when I was looking to build my business, we already had ties here. I'd lived here for over 10 years and had, a career. I had a network here, and, I was building a family here at the same time. So we were quite embedded in here, and Hong Kong's a great place. And what I love was the energy, the openness in Hong Kong, and given when you're starting something new, that allows you to have opportunities and meet people that you may not have that opportunity to do so in other cities or other locations. And I mean, I think that just imbues you with that confidence to try something new and have a go. And, a lot of that came into play. And that's what I think Hong Kong does a great job at.
I couldn't agree more. Hong Kong has an energy. It's so hard to explain it to people that haven't been there, isn't it? It's it really can. Yeah. If you're ambitious, it really feeds you in a very interesting way. Yeah. But one of my previous guests.
Get a lot done in Hong Kong.
Sorry. Oh, go ahead. No.
To say that you can. In one day in Hong Kong, you feel like you can do a lot.
That's true.
24 hours here is full. It's and everything's at your fingertips. It's a very kind of, I don't know if the word's condensed, but very density in terms of your ability to access things quite close as well. So that allows you to move fast.
Yeah, I mean, this could quite quickly turn into a gushing permanent podcast about how amazing Hong Kong is. I'm in London now, and one of the things I try to describe to people, the difference is in London, if I get 1 or 2 meetings arranged in a day, it's kind of a miracle. In Hong Kong, I think I had 21 meetings in one day. You can people just move fast. They say yes, they say no. Things happen quickly, and it's quite a dynamic place, isn't it? And I think people. A previous guest said you either love it or you hate it. But if you're entrepreneurial, I think there's nothing quite like it. Now, a previous guest did say that 45% of the founders in Hong Kong are female. And so I can't verify that stat, but it's really interesting. And I wondered what your view on maybe why that was. Why is that so for Hong Kong?
Sure. I mean, I think, we've talked about the energy and openness that Hong Kong provides. So you do feel like you can make an opportunity here. You can go out and do things. And, obviously that feeling is gender neutral. So I think that imbues both. But, the system here is there's an element of it's a wealthy city. So there's you do need savings to go in and build your business. So, there's a cross section here that you can be looking at for reasons, but, whether people have put some savings behind them. And so they're willing to, take the opportunity of Hong Kong and financially back that and have a go, which I think is really great. There's the helper system, the unsung heroes for many families here in Hong Kong that allow both the women, but if they're they're in a relationship, but the family to actually, put forward, the ability to start businesses. There's, I think there's a lot of equality within the culture here in terms of supporting women to be in the workforce generally. And I think that therefore extends into entrepreneurship more broadly.
Just share with us a little bit, you mentioned, women needing capital. What is the capital startup ecosystem like in Hong Kong? Is it very buoyant at the moment? Is it tough to raise money generally? What's your view?
Well, I think obviously we're coming off the back of COVID, so the past year's been difficult for, I think, a lot of industries. I think always with fundraising, a lot of it depends on what sector you're in, the founder, are you innovative, are you disruptive, and is it hot? I mean, I think if you're looking at something like healthcare at the moment, there's a lot of interest in healthcare because of what we've seen, not just as a city, but globally. So I think a lot of that's driven by that. I think education or ed tech's taken a bit of a boost coming off the past year as well. And so I think there's some, depending on your type of business, there's always opportunities. But yes, people have probably, particularly at the angel level, I'd say, held tighter to maybe their cash than they have previously. If you're looking at more institutional funds, they may have to deploy their money anyway, so they're still looking around for opportunities. So again, it's looking at that spectrum of capital, the capital range. But I think the positive thing we've seen is, if any positives coming out of COVID, very hard to say that, but the ability to be virtually connected to opportunities that maybe you couldn't get before because people were a little bit more locally driven on accelerators or pitch events and things like that. You're seeing a lot more of a virtual element. So I think you have the opportunity to look further afield.
That's a very good point. And I know what you mean. It feels it's hard to pinpoint the benefits of COVID, but I think seeing that you can connect anybody in the world anyway. I'm in London, you're in Hong Kong. We're doing this recording, this knowledge share, which maybe we wouldn't have done if we didn't have COVID. Technology wouldn't be so accepted. And it's very interesting. I guess I wanted to get an idea of how you think. Like, do you think entrepreneurs are born or bred, for example?
Well, I think from that perspective, it's a very interesting question, born or bred. I think some people are born and I think some people are bred to it. I think that we need to think about entrepreneurship quite broadly because I think we fall about it into a startup space, but actually for companies, they always need to innovate and be entrepreneurial to grow. And so I think what you do see is that entrepreneurial spirit, even within big corporates, because they're the ones making sure that they're continually growing, either disrupting the markets that they're already in. I think you can see that. I think where you see it bred is if you see someone who tries, maybe successful or fails, but like anything, the more times you try it, I think you learn the tricks of the trade and what works and what doesn't work. And I think that part of entrepreneurial, an entrepreneurial mindset can be bred.
Yeah, I think, again, that's often an unsung element, that there are a lot of entrepreneurs working inside companies. I like to think the people at PwC that bought my company were quite entrepreneurial. They were thinking ahead. They were taking a chance. Right? It's definitely a good point. And I guess looking at Hong Kong as a market, for those that are listening, what do you think the benefits of Hong Kong are to people?
So certainly, the ecosystem here is a really great community from a startup perspective. There's the opportunity to interact with people that you may not get elsewhere. There's that ability to either work with experts in the field or have a coffee or talk about your opportunity. I think there's some real benefits there. And obviously, kind of setting up the business here, there's a lot of positives around that. But, as in everywhere, building a business, it just takes a bit of grit and continually working at it. So, and I think that the energy of Hong Kong imbues you with that ability to get up every day and keep going and work on your business.
I found myself with Hong Kong, like, it's so easy to set up a company, It's it's flat tax rate. So you work hard, you make money. Yes, you pay tax, but you can actually earn a good living. There's no capital gains tax. So if you actually have an upside, you get to keep it. So it's really kind of an interesting flat structure, which I found to allow you to get ahead if you work hard. And the connectivity point. I always say it's 1 degree of separation in Hong Kong. If you want connection, it's always one person away. So it's just so many benefits. It's making me miss Hong Kong just talking about it. But who's going to be the next Hong Kong unicorn in your view?
That's a great question. Okay, so coming from my business perspective, we would love to see that it's led by a female founder. That's really, there's some great women in Hong Kong who are building businesses, and showing that women can be that future CEO of a unicorn. I think would be an amazing opportunity for women. I think, you look at someone like Peggy Choi from Link, she's passionate about what her business is solving. She's combining that with technology and commercialization to grow quite quickly. And that's really great homegrown story of a female founder growing an amazing business and moving fast. So, I'd love to see someone like Peggy, getting out there and, seeing the success there.
What does Link do?
So Link is they connect you with experts, and so it's a kind of a matching service, and it's really good because they're using AI and technology to feed that, and they're really innovative around the way that they're going around that. And so I think what they've really done is they've brought technology to an older business model and just grown exponentially.
Peggy, if you're listening, no pressure, but Nicole wants you to be the next Hong Kong unicorn. So, but sounds cool. I'll check it out. And we'll put the links to Peggy's business down below for anyone listening that wants to check it out, and perhaps beg Peggy to invest in her so that you can be a part of the next big unicorn story. But as far as existing unicorns are concerned, is there any Hong Kong's got a few. Is there any stories that really stand out? Any unicorns you want to shout out now that you any what's your thoughts on the existing ecosystem?
Well, I think this week there was an announcement that we've just had our 10th unicorn in Hong Kong. And, I just think it's great because, the ecosystem here is quite young. It's, it's not like Silicon Valley. And we'll talk about that here. There's not that establishment that you're seeing in other kind of startup ecosystems. So the fact that we're already kicking on to the 10th, I think is really positive thing and really inspiring for the community. I think there was a lot of people excited about that.
Yeah, I think having unicorn status, in a way, it means a lot. I think, especially to those in the startup ecosystem, because I know in Hong Kong people are fighting to give businesses in Hong Kong a chance to succeed. So when you have a unicorn, it almost validates everyone's energy and love for the market, right? So, and that's one of the things I personally loved about living there, is that everyone does lift everyone else up. There is a sense of like we're in it together, and that's another, I think, unique feeling. I'm in London. I love London, but there is sometimes it's quite separated. It's a big place, and so. But what I loved about living in Hong Kong is that if you succeed, people are happy for you, and they want to see that happen so that they can validate the very market everyone's working so hard on. So I hear you. 10 is pretty impressive, isn't it? I think the ecosystem there, in my view, has only been really pushing for about 10 years. So it's one a year at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that's what's great about the StartmeupHK Festival, because there's a number of events happening. So we're one of the core events. We're Monday afternoon, but across all the events, everyone's doing Showcase the Founders. You'll see so many, both Hong Kong, but even across Asia, so many entrepreneurs and great businesses being given a voice through this festival. And I think that's a really positive thing, because businesses need the opportunity to showcase and to be out there, and that's a real benefit of StartmeupHK for the ecosystem in Hong Kong.
And for anyone listening to this broadcast after the event, then you can click the links below, and all of the discussions and all of the insights will be on the website in the link below. So if you've missed Nicole's panels that she mentioned earlier, and you want to hear the discussions that are being had around this very important subject that Nicole's pioneering and pushing through, then you can click the links below and get access to them. So just in case you are listening to this a little bit later after the actual event. So I guess just wrapping up the podcast, and I wanted to ask if you had any words of wisdom for any aspiring entrepreneurs out there listening.
Always. My number one is always just start. Time passes so quickly. If you have a great idea, do your research to really assess the product market fit and, the target market opportunity, and then just go out. If you think there's something there, go out, have a try, go forward. You can only learn from the experience. And I always think, having a tried entrepreneur, you're going to learn some amazing skills. It's going to be super hard, but you will learn, so many amazing things. You'll meet amazing people. And whether you succeed or fail, it always opens more doors. And that's only a good thing, both for you personally and professionally.
I feel like you need to trademark Just Start. It's like just do it, but better.
There you go. Just do it.
Nicole, awesome to have you on the podcast. Look forward to having you back, and we can discuss all sorts of subjects, including the co-founder one. Yep. And appreciate your time and sharing your knowledge, and enjoy the festival.
Great. Yep. Thank you very much for having me on. And I think the festival is going to be a fantastic week for Hong Kong and everyone that can join us both locally and across the world.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for listening to Pep Talk today, powered by the Purposeful Project. If you found it interesting, please give us a review and follow us. In addition, you can sign up to our website and get loads more free entrepreneur knowledge, as well as get access to Pep Talk and the Purposeful Project podcast direct in your inbox every week.